to your drum. Achieve success with Global.Media.com and celebrate it with or without champagne or rum.
Yay! We're live. We're live. We're live on Restream again, which has been a journey. It's been a journey. Dr. Yvonne.
Yes.
But we're here, right? We made it in the end, and this is by no means our latest start ever. So, I'm just glad we're here.
Yes. Well, it is my fault because I could not operate this new system.
It's tech. Whenever we have to play with tech,
yes,
we run the risk of something not working the way we would like.
Yes.
But we're here.
Is that Paulette in the picture too? Oh, that is such a nice picture. I love that picture.
Which one? Of me in red?
Yeah, I look at that picture. I love it.
Of me in pink. Wow, it's me, and then I told the AI to make me look older. It did. Like we just it's kind of cool. Nice, all right. Things you can do these days, right?
I think that makes you look really handsome.
I look like an American
I really like
chat, like game show chat host, apparently.
Yes.
And I don't know. It's a picture, and once I create something, I let it go. It's fine. It's there, right?
I love it, and I love the red. Love the red.
Yes. People get used to it. So I'm a big advocate of colorful suits. I've got all the blacks and all the blues when they were the rage.
Yeah.
But deep down, I want to be. Is it a star? Is that what they call them in Africa? They wear designer suits, but they're always freaky suits. Every year there's a new trend.
Mm-hmm.
And they wear suits I want to wear. Literally, suits are inside out. I love that idea.
Wow!
So you can see all the stitches and all the funny bits that no one ever sees. So
yeah. There's a women's brand that does that too. Free People, and I love their clothes. Yeah, very bohemian. Their clothes,
yes,
and I love it. I love it.
Very expensive too, but hell.
Yeah.
It's what happens, right? If I'm going to spend thousands on a suit, I might as well have it. I'm going to have it made. I might as well make it in a color that's, and I'm going to have a whole rainbow of suits, green, yellow. I'm going to have all of them.
Green, yellow. You have a red.
Yeah. I've got a burgundy as well. This one's meant to be it's a light burgundy, but I've got a dark burgundy one. The more purple, more real purple.
Yeah.
And I've got a grey one as well, which is for when I want to be sensible, but I never want to be sensible. So
when I want to be sensible,
I never want to be sensible. So it's what it is, right?
I'll never be sensible.
No. So, how's your day going?
My day is going fabulous. It is cold, sorta, but the sun is really, really bright. And there's just nothing but great vibes happening around this way. And I'm excited. I just have a feeling of excitement. Like really great things are just happening. They're just going to continue to happen.
Isn't that great? Isn't that great?
It is great. Because I honestly feel that way. That's how I honestly feel.
I feel I'm blown away that I get to live that same feeling every day.
Yes.
And I do take time to thank God and say that thank you for giving me this. It's working in peace and in joy. That's what I call it.
Wow.
Literally every single day. It's like a miracle. It really is.
Well, we choose how we want to be. There's some days that we get up and we say, okay, I got to crawl right back in bed because this is just not happening for me today. And no, so serious. Like there are days like that. And especially when people have strong personalities, leadership qualities, and they're making different moves and shifts. Sometimes that positive energy gets overwhelming. And, and this happens with people of power. I didn't understand it before, but it happens to people of power. There might be a day where you just crash.
Like you don't know why, you don't know how you got started, on that mental plane, and then you don't
Mm.
want to see anyone.
Yeah.
Maybe you spend a whole day sobbing, but then the next day, guess what? You're you're good again. You just had to break out or have a tower moment that one day. Nothing wrong
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, no, yeah, I think we have to be, we have to embrace the good days, right? Thankfully, I don't have many of those days. I don't have any day where I don't move. I got too many things to do, and I'm excited about doing the things I need to, and I have to do. That's the truth of it, right?
Wow.
I like doing what I like living Annie's life, and Annie's life, it's a good
Hmm.
it's a good thing.
It
Anyway,
is a good thing.
let's
Hmm.
welcome some of our friends because more and more are joining us. Now you can listen to us waffle on, my friends. And I see Liana's here. How you doing, Liana? Please go and buy your ticket, Liana. I'm praying and begging for you to go and buy a ticket for our event tomorrow. That's the event tonight. That's Yvonne. Now you're a sponsor, so you
Hmm.
know I get to show a video today, right? I get to show a video. So Liana, get your phone out and then you can scan the QR code. There's only one day left. Please buy your ticket.
Yes. Scan the QR code, everyone.
Yes. So Miss Alovine's here as well. So hope life is treating you
Oh,
well.
hi, Elamine.
Yeah, life always treats us well as well. So we're just not natural about. So Kyan, so the AI genius, glad you're here. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh, there's me on YouTube. Yeah, surprise, surprise, right? I say I went to a room. So I went to a room last night, or I watched a replay, and I think the person, I say the host was talking about, I guess, living a soft life.
Mm,
So
yeah.
I thought, yeah, it ties in what we're going to talk about tomorrow. So here we are. Here we are. Of course, my friends. I know there's more people here, so please do say hi. I can't welcome you because I can see the numbers, but I can't see your name. So when you say hi, when you make a comment, then I can welcome you properly. Until then, of course, you're welcome to join the studio. So I'm going to share the link now, on the event page. If you want the link, so you want me to send you the link directly to your DM, then please just ask, right? And I'll send it to you. Now, Dr. Yvonne, take it away. Now, you're always the star of the show.
Oh,
So,
no. Well, um, first of all, I just want to thank everybody for coming. And yes, do buy a ticket for Annie's event tomorrow. It was my pleasure to be a sponsor because Annie, you're always giving, and you know, it has to be reciprocal. When someone is giving to you, it's not that they're giving so that they can get something from you. They're giving from a place of the heart, and they're hoping that you receive it from a place in your heart. And so, anytime I feel that reciprocation, used to be a time I would never do it. I would just keep giving and giving and pouring into people that weren't pouring into me. And um, Annie's events are very good. I like them. They strike a chord. And so if you can support him, and the tickets are literally nothing. I think they're like, what, $13. So please go and support. Okay. Now, with that announcement, the reason we're here today is, we had started talking about Dark Night of the Soul and what that meant and facing yourself, truly facing those parts of yourself that maybe no one else knows about. Maybe it's something that you're very perplexed about, or something people have always told you about yourself that you know is not true. Facing your traumas, facing those things that hurt you to the point where you questioned yourself. Whatever your tower moment was that or is that brings you to go through dark night of the soul, which is facing everything about yourself head on, just you and self. So it's that in interworking that we're talking about here. But once you get to the point where you say, okay, that might have been the first time I experienced dark night of the soul, or the first time I experienced this sensation, but I had no name for it. I didn't know what it meant, you know. Um, because you're going to have other tower moments, but it's how we live through them and how we deal with them. And then once we come out on the other side, we literally see who we want to see. We see the person that we know we are, not the person that whomever you were dealing with, whether it be narcissistic or whatever relationship you were dealing with that made you feel less than, or planted self-doubt somewhere in the back of your head. You know, um, when you experience those tower moments in your life and they take you through a journey, remember at the end of the journey, my God, it's like going through the eye of the storm. You know for a fact there's got to be sunlight somewhere at the end. How you get there, though, that's your journey. And once you get to the end of that particular storm, because remember, the bottom of a mountain is the top, well, the top of a mountain is the bottom of another one, right? So we keep elevating up. But I remember the first time, you know, I discovered what Dark Night of the Soul was. I was in a pity party. Literally, I was in a pity party and I didn't understand it. But I did understand that I was sick and tired of people making me shrink or me allowing people to make me shrink. And then I started realizing, okay, that's not me, that's not me, that's not me. And I don't like what you did, you did, you did. And it just became a point where I realized my own power. And so this is what happens when you go through the process of Dark Night of the Soul. And when you start to realize that your circle needs to be tightened, or you realize that whatever soul ties, if any, you had with that karmic being that, puts you somewhere in a little box somewhere and brought you out just to stomp on your head, uh, you start realizing, hey, literally, I have a voice and I really do know who I am. And because of that, now I'm going to start living in my moment, whatever that moment is. Okay. Because you know how sometimes we're always looking at the next step, the next step, the next step. Problem with that is, has nothing to do with long-term planning or goal setting. It has to do with the enjoyment and the quiet entitlement of a good life for yourself. That soft spot, you know? And we talked a little bit about this, Annie, and it has a lot to do with your divine energy. So as a woman, after you've gone through all that hell, and you recognize the hell that you have gone through, and maybe you go through a bitter period, this is a period of growth. No period of growth is comfortable. So when you start going through your transformation, think of yourself as a butterfly in a cocoon. When that wing starts to pop out of that cocoon and the larvae that went in there, which was you, was, just tackled and worn out and didn't know the next step. And then all of a sudden, you have to go into hibernation. But when you start busting out as yourself, you start appreciating yourself and you stop selling yourself short. You stop questioning yourself the wrong way. You should always question things, make sure that it's right and it's on point, but you're not questioning yourself with the negative energy that somebody else has placed on you. and you are looking firmly at what am I doing today? What's on my agenda for today? Where is my lover today? Whatever scenario you're in, you are looking at today and you are enjoying today and you're enjoying yourself in your day. You're beginning to live a soft life. So, as a divine feminine, you are sitting in the posture of receptivity. That is what the posture of a divine feminine female is. Now, she can be strong, she can be all these things, but as a female, what we do is we multiply. Whatever your mate gives you, you multiply it and return it gracefully. But you can't really do anything gracefully if you are under attack, whether it be emotionally or physically. You can't do it gracefully, right? Because it's a struggle, it's a fight. But when we start realizing, okay, I'm entitled to that. I'm entitled to that. I've worked hard for that. I've worked hard for this. And yeah, it's okay for me to receive. It's okay for me to open my mouth to my significant other, or if it's a job position or whatever, and say, this is how I feel about it. This is what I feel about it. And this is how I want it delivered to me. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. But in the back of your mind, do you really feel that you deserve it? So when you come out of the storm and you realize that all this other stuff was frivolous bullshit, you sit in your own power. You call your power back from all those individuals that wanted to make you feel less than. So when you're sitting in the male posture of, I guess you would call it conquering or giving, your opposite or your mirror image of your divine female is receiving what you're giving and then multiplying it and giving it back. It is a gentle play on life that brings together like a harmonic symphony of a soft life, which is what we should be living. We shouldn't be living to struggle. But getting to know yourself is the first part of that. And when you get out of these kinds of relationships, guess what? We start appreciating ourselves even more. So that's what we're talking about today, Emmy. We're talking about that posture. We're talking about getting through that storm. And we're talking about not answering to every single name other people call you, but rectifying that and not allowing people to put your light under a bushel. So that's what I feel. How does that set with you? Can't hear you if you're talking.
I'm trying to sort myself out, but trying to understand the screen here is it's still new to me, right? This is my second event on Restream, so bear with me, my friends. I see a few more of our good friends have joined us. Dr. Roxana, how are you doing, superstar? Glad you're here. All those who got tickets, I'll keep telling you. Dr. Roxana has a ticket. Who else? Curtis has a ticket as well. Welcome, Curtis. How you doing? Great to see you. And Lisa's buying a ticket tonight, so welcome. Look, I think we don't. I don't understand. No, I do understand.
What?
For a long time, many of us live a hard life.
Yeah.
And it almost feels like we're cheating ourselves when we don't live in our joy. And you and I were talking earlier. Some people think it's like that's the norm. It's normal to have misery. I don't agree. I don't agree. I've been there. Even when I was at my worst, I was still happy-go-lucky person. I didn't intentionally live a happy life. I didn't understand the importance of finding peace and just living your happiness. Now, cool. You trying to start me living a happy life, right? Good luck with that. You know, you'd have to work extra hard. I can't even imagine what you have to do, because no one can make me miserable. No one can really affect how I feel, and I'm always happy. Now, for a while, I called it the end bubble, where you have this, you just create this mental space where everything's glorious.
Mm.
But I think, but no, I realize everything can be glorious.
Mm-hmm.
I think we deserve that. We deserve that place where everything is as we want it to be. Maybe it's not maybe it's not on a practical level. Maybe on a practical level, things aren't perfect. But no, I don't think we need perfection. We just need that joy in our soul. Yeah.
I don't think we're talking about perfection. The the best things in life are usually imperfect
Mm,
in their appearance, So you can't seek perfection.
mm,
I mean, because then the anxiety and the stress and everything becomes overwhelming. Perfectionists are, and I guess some people might say that they might look and they might say that I might maybe be somewhat of a perfectionist with certain things, but it's not that I'm looking for perfection. It's that I'm looking for what feels good to me. So it might be
mm.
perfect for me and not perfect for someone else. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I think it's finding that happy bit, right? That happy bit, and just living in peace.
That's because you have a soft place to land.
Mm,
Let me tell you, if you were not living in peace, it would be because your home is not your safe haven.
mm,
Um, you notice when there's a person that blusters a lot and that always has a scowl on their face, or when you see pictures of that person with their family, even, you kind of can feel like that strain of a smile coming through. Or you could look at the eyes of the child that's in the picture. Let's say it's a family portrait, and the eyes don't look happy, right? But there's a smile on the kid's face or on the wife's face or on the husband's face, but you could see beyond that, and you know that that's not a happy person, or that the
mm.
situation they're in is not happy. When someone is genuinely pleased with their overall surroundings, their life, their home, there is a joy that comes with that. You see, Annie, because let's just say you did not have a happy home. I don't care how many times you would tell yourself, well, I'm going to be happy. I don't want to be sad. Guess what? You don't have a soft place to land.
Mm, mm.
So nothing about you as far as happiness would be authentic. It would be something forced. It would be a mask,
Yeah.
and you're holding up the mask to the outside. But
Mm.
once you close the door, you're living in absolute misery.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that it goes back to our dark nights of the soul
Hmm.
moments where I think that we have to face ourselves more than anything else. I think, even in these relationships, I think we have to be honest with ourselves and work out what we need to do.
Hmm. You
Yeah,
have to do the work.
too many people have miserable relationships. That's the truth. I think that's just a fact, right? Like
Hmm.
Curtis said, let me work on Michael first. Mr. Calm, how you doing? Mr. Calm's bought his ticket. Good for him. Good on him is
Oh,
what I say.
hello, Michael.
How you
Hmm.
doing? So Curtis says, we're talking about alignment. Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
good
Yes.
word.
Alignment. But I think I use the word peace. I think that's alignment, right?
It is, yeah.
Peace and joy. And so too many people live in miserable relationships and never address it. and
Yeah.
it makes us miserable. you know, and I don't know. I think just being honest and just being honest with ourselves is the first step. You know,
Mm.
and it seems like what we're talking about today is that you need to move on and find and have another relationship following narcissism.
Well, yes, but before you get yourself in another relationship or another situationship or partnership or even a new position, you have to clear out the negativity. That's the
Mm,
whole idea or the whole theory behind Dark Night of the Soul. It's reconciling all those things or all those people, places, comments, feelings. That brought that negative energy to you that you're living in.
mm,
And once you get out of it, take a step back and do the work. I keep saying do the work.
mm, mm,
And when I say do the work, I mean do the inside work. See, everything could be a beautiful package on the outside. That doesn't mean anything. When you look at people that look like they have everything perfect, and then all of a sudden you get notice that, they decided to end it all or some horrible thing like that.
mm,
Um, the outside looked great. Who would have known, right?
mm.
They would have known.
Only they would have known deep down, and so no one else would have known really.
Yeah, yeah. And that's why we also, those of us that have loved ones and things of that nature, and it's when they're going through something, always got to continue to check up on them. It doesn't mean you can stop anything, but
Mm,
it does mean that you're reaching out, you're letting them know you're there, you're giving them that support, and maybe that support is what they need to get through the next part,
mm.
you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can't
Yeah.
fake that, Annie. You can't
No,
fake it.
you really can't. And trying to lie to yourself, it doesn't work. That's the dark night of the soul.
Yeah,
exactly.
you
So
can't lie. Yeah.
Alvin, I see you. Christy, how you doing? Christy's bought a ticket as well. So I love people who bought the ticket. Of course I do. And it gives me joy. You're gonna love tomorrow's show. We're ready. I'm gonna send some emails today. With the links and the workbook tomorrow. That's it. There's a long time between now and there's 24 hours still, right? So give me a chance. Alvin, come back. I want. Why do people just disappear off this thing? I don't get it.
I'm, I'm telling you, this is okay. We just have to get used to it, I guess, because you saw how long it took me to put, I couldn't even, it was weird, but yeah,
Yes, no, it's different for sure. And I'm trying to work out whether it's less stable than StreamYard. I'm not sure whether it is. It may be. I don't know why I'm flickering. I don't know why I'm not looking like I should. But we'll work it out in time, right? So this is only show number 2. Let me try this camera. Oh no, okay, I put that over there. Right. Oh, okay, a little bit
oh,
better.
there.
Yeah, on the other
Yeah,
camera.
you're not blinking now.
No, which is a bit weird. right. And okay, as soon as let's talk about this. So this soft landing,
Yeah.
it doesn't require other relationships, and that it's more about who we are to ourselves, right?
Well, I'll be honest. So, like when women start talking about a soft life, it is the life of security for a woman.
Mm,
See, women need to feel safe. Well, everyone needs to feel safe, but we're just talking right now about the female aspect, obviously, because I'm female. And I work with a lot of women that have gone through this narcissistic thing, or abuse.
mm,
And for women, instead of having just a husband, you want a provider. Whether or not you make more money than him, or you know whatever the logistics are, a provider is someone that is literally there to make sure you're all right, they're all right, and you don't have to worry.
Mm.
See, and that's also part of living in your feminine energy and being in the posture of receptivity. Because those of us that might have a man right with you, but you're always struggling. Like you're always struggling. Well, first of all, we know all those signs of a narcissist, right? Now we're talking relationship now here. Um, and we know that the one thing they try to do is destabilize you. They take things away one by one. So when you're getting out of a narcissistic relationship and you've gone through dark night of the soul and now you realize your value, which when you went into the relationship you thought you knew your value until it was stomped on and you started feeling like nothing and you knew that like nothing you did was right. Now here you are getting out of that and here standing on your side after you've done the work inside is a partner that wants to protect you, wants to keep you safe, wants to see you smile, gives you the protection, especially as a woman, where you can literally be a little girl again. You can literally feel safe enough to be silly. If you want to do silly things, you know he's not going to sit there in judgment of you. Security is one of the biggest factors in living a soft life. And you'll note that the men or the partners that want to see you suffer in whatever it is in their mind, they don't want to see you light as a feather. They don't want you to act silly, and if you do act silly, they're going to tear you down brick by brick, make you feel bad. You're not going to be able to be yourself. Having a provider that allows you to be comfortable, being happy, being joyous, dancing naked in the kitchen if you want, or whatever it is that makes you a little girl again,
Mm.
that
Mm.
safety net, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not just about them providing, it is about them sustaining you and you sustaining them. It is reciprocal. And you treat them like how a man should be treated. And I'm very traditional. So, women that are not traditional, um, forgive me, sorta, but this is just what I believe. I believe in roles. I do. However, there's some gray areas,
Mm.
because society has changed, quite a bit from the traditional roles, like when I was growing up with my mom and my dad and watching their relationship to where we are right now. And a lot of households sometimes need two incomes. But here's the beauty of it. If you've got a provider, you're not laying there next to this person saying, oh my God, how am I going to pay this gas bill? How am I going to pay this electric
Mm.
bill? Oh, the kids need shoes today. And then the man that you have, and even if he is the father of these children, which hopefully he will be, is not laying there saying, oh, go figure it out. That's
Mm.
not security.
No.
That's not a provider.
Yeah, I
And
think.
that's definitely not someone that wants to give you the world.
Yeah, I think Curtis puts it nicely. He provides an emotional and mental safe space.
I
You know,
like that.
yeah. So that's what counts. I think it's also about being working together. Being a team rather than being individuals in a relationship.
See, you have to be, okay, he has to be your provider,
Mm.
protector, and lover. You have to be his multiplier, his soft place to land his head, and his nourishment. everything else you guys will work out in a relationship, right? Whether it be the bills or whatever, but you're doing it together. But if both of you have that security in each other, it can't just be one way. It has to be within each other. But see, when we enter in spaces like that, guess what? We're entering as whole human beings. That's why you never rush into anything. If it's meant for you, guess what? It's going to find you. If you're meant to be in that relationship or that situation or that job or whatever it is, it will never pass you by because it was meant solely for you. That's just how I feel. And it took a long time to understand that and to get there. But it took an even longer time for me to see what other people were seeing.
Yeah, yeah, makes perfect sense. Kyan, I'm trying to work out how to reply that. I'll just send the link for the tickets and the information for our conference tomorrow to your DM. So I'm gonna put it in here as well in case anyone wants the link. So this is a ticket link. I'm just putting up now. There's several different links, but tonight this is the one that I monitor for me. Alavine, how are you? Welcome to our world today. How are you doing?
You both sound like you're in the Muppets.
Oh
Like the
no, this
Muppet
okay.
Show.
It's like so sorry, I got this wrong.
So you want me to
Alavine
go
was
back to
here.
LinkedIn?
All right,
Okay,
so
at
it's
least I
you.
can
It's you
I can hear
now.
you.
Can you hear us?
Muppets. You
Can you
guys are
hear
so
us?
funny. You know, like one of you is Miss Piggy, the other one is the frog. You're like, what the hell? I'm
Oh
like,
my God.
thank you. Thank you very much for this restream.
Yeah, yeah. Change happens in our world, my friend. Change happens all the time,
So
right?
no, are you being serious? We sound like Muppets?
Hopefully
Michael, where'd he
not.
go?
This is I don't know. No, I don't know. I have no idea where he's gone. Hopefully, we'll see him again in a minute. So
Wait,
it
can
can't,
someone tell us if we sound weird? Because
wow, sounds like
you don't sound weird to me.
no, you sound great to me. As always. Say, he does say, "Wow," sounds like at the Muppets show. I think that's in the private chat, which you have to do when you're here, right? I can't text the audience. It seems. Okay, I have no idea. I don't know.
Can
Does it?
somebody else tell
Yeah.
us? Because I've never used this app and it took a long time, ask any, for me to get this straightened out. Do
Mm.
we sound weird? Can someone tell us?
If anyone's struggling to hear us, then please put in the comments so we know, and then we can begin to figure out whether we need to change our
Because
microphones.
that's not a very nice
No, I think what it might
that's
just
not
sound weird at his end, on his device. If they couldn't hear us, they would have said so already in the comments. I know how this events work. Someone would not speak. Someone would be like, "I can't hear you. I can't hear you." But it's you sound great. You can hear me loud and clear, so it's all good, right? It's not. There's nothing.
yeah.
Anyway, okay. There's Curtis. Curtis said the audio sounds fine to him, so I'll take that. I'll take that.
Yeah,
Unless
I'll
someone
take
tells
that
us
too.
otherwise, what can we do? But Curtis
Hmm.
says both men and women must learn how to be responsible for the decisions that they've made in terms of individuals they have opened their lives to. And I agree with you entirely. I agree. Now, we often choose people based on our skewed desires. Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Does Alavine want to come up today? Because I love when she speaks.
No, she came up and then she fell off.
Oh,
I have no idea why. No, so like Curtis says, the audio sounds fine to him, so I'll take it. It's what it is. Audio sounds great. Anyway, right. I think going back to this soft landing.
Mm. It's hard
So
for me to read the
yeah, no,
yeah. Okay.
it's a restream
Yeah.
thing. It's the way they
Yeah.
present the. Maybe it's a background thing. Is if I had a black background, it might stand out more.
Mm.
Anyway, so what was Tom say? Funny how that's funny about this app on LinkedIn. Where you are clear. When I go to restream online, you are dumped into the Muppet Show after a brief moment of sanity. Yeah, hopefully, no. Hopefully, on the different platform. If it sounds alright on LinkedIn, actually, we have to hope it sounds alright on Facebook and on YouTube as well. It's.
Don't
I,
like the analogy to Muppets.
it just
I
sounds
really, I really don't like that analogy at all.
it sounds tinny is what I take it as. It sounds distant. I'm sure that that's what it means. If I got that wrong, Michael, so do tell us. So I'm sure so unless we know what you're hearing, which we don't, then it's very hard for us to put anything different on. Yeah. Anyway, look, let's get back to our conversation. I think
Mm.
the point is that we need to live a life of mental freedom,
Yes.
and on our terms, a life that gives us joy. Whether you're a man or a
Yes.
woman, I think we need to find. If we're going to be in a relationship, we know, as Curtis just said, we need to almost avoid repeating the what to call it, repeating the mistake.
Hmm.
Repeating what got us into that miserable situation of being with a narcissist. But I know many people will repeat this cycle over and over and over again. They keep picking weirdos, right? That's men and women.
Well, it's what you attract. So, I always go to the analogy of the house, right? So whenever you meet someone or whenever you're attracted to someone, you're meeting them at that particular level at that time. So that means that you guys are aligned on that level at that time of meeting. The reason why things unravel is because one might be ascending while the other one stays at that level, or their ascension is slower. And so they end up falling off, or falling out of your life. You no longer can really mentally match that person because your elevation is like on a totally different floor and they're still on the level where you met them. Let's say you met when you were 22. The 22-year-old you is not the 42-year-old you. There's a growth that has to happen. But in some cases, guess what? The 22-year-old partner that you met when you were 22 decided that, hey, this is a great place for me. This is where I want to stay. I don't have to do anything to become better. I don't have to do anything to change. I can stay here at 22. But you realize, hey, I I realized that this life incident happened. This is what I've learned from it. I realized that these are my new goals. This is where I want to get to. I realize that spiritually, I'm accepting XYZ. I realize that I want to live a certain lifestyle. Then all of a sudden, there's no, th- there's nothing that you guys now have in common. One has maintained the level that you met them on at 22.
Mm.
Here you are now, you know, at 42, and the one at 22 is still here. You're going to move on, and
Mm.
they're going to naturally vacate.
Yeah.
Why? Because now you're too much work,
Mm.
and they are no longer comfortable. And so they want to continue to do the bare minimum. They want to continue where they are.
That is so true. So it dawned, I say, I think like you say, if you're happy, if you're happy where you are, the temptation is to carry on being happy and just staying there. But I think that's it's immature ultimately.
Yes, it is.
It's an immature way of thinking, because I think in reality we must grow together and we must change together as we go. Like you're saying, it's not one changes, the other one stays the same. I say all this because again, I was living a happy life, and I lived a happy life in my 20s. I lived a happy life in my 30s, and then there came a day when it suddenly dawned on me that my wife doesn't want to be my slave. I'm like, damn. She doesn't want to do that. Yes, she likes to cook for she likes to cook for everyone, for example. I got two older kids, and the wife will happily cook a meal for each of us. I'm like, and of course, we're not going to complain, are we? We're going to, and then when you don't get your meal, then obviously you're tempted to complain and kick up a stink. But one day it dawned on me, she actually hates cooking for everyone. She doesn't know. She doesn't know. She doesn't enjoy it. It's not she hates. She doesn't enjoy it the way we seem to assume she does. So from that day on, I started doing I cook a lot more. I cook virtually every day now. But it took me a while to realize that I was just being a kid, even though we've moved, like you say, we've moved on from our 20s to our 40s. And I imagine today she's happier, but that's just one example. There's many other things that I could cite where we have to, the right partner. We have to grow together. We have to evolve. And then I think even in that process, we find ourselves. Dr. Yvonne's fallen off the stage. Hopefully, she will come back in a second. But I think I like this conversation about finding the soft landing. Soft landing. Yeah. What happened to you? You fell off by yourself, or you pressed?
Yeah, it just
really. Oh well, if that's what it takes to keep Restream cheaper than StreamYard, I'll take it. Whatever. I'm not paying £200 a month.
No.
On this streaming platform, and I get what I want from this. Hopefully it will stabilize with time. Hopefully.
It was so weird. It just like.
I laugh. Look, I think like you heard my point, right?
No, because it just went like dead. Like you were there, but I couldn't hear anything.
Okay, so say from almost the beginning, one of the reasons that I got with my wife is that she cooked. She cooked every day. So that was through our late teens, my late teens, into she's older than me. So anyway, through our 20s, through our in our 20s, we had two kids, and she would happily cook a meal for each of us every day, and then of course cook hers as well. And then it took me a long time to realize that she wasn't enjoying cooking the way we assumed she did, and from now when the penny finally dropped, it's not just cooking, even washing up. I didn't do a single. I was just a lazy git who sat on the sofa waiting for my food. And if the food wasn't on time, you cry and complain, right? And then one day, so it sort of dawns on you that I'm not playing my part, and we just put it on her. So since that day, essentially, I've cooked every day since. I cook my food. She wants to cook for our youngest son and her food. Okay, so be it. Of course, I will eat some of their food. So I'm very good at eating everyone else's food. Trust me. I did it yesterday, and I'm not shy. But I think, but now I'm the one who keeps the kitchen clean, and I'll have a war with our kids, the older ones and the younger ones and the grandkids.
Mm.
because I know that deep down she does not, she doesn't enjoy coming to a messy kitchen. No one does.
No, no.
Right. So I said, that's my obsession. That's been my obsession for a few years now, where literally I will not see anything in the sink and leave it there because I know, and the war with the kids is simply saying, which slave do you think is going to wash that plate?
Yeah.
And we all know which slave you expect to wash the plate, but the slave
Yeah.
I'm coming, wash your own damn plate, because it buys me peace and quiet. It buys, otherwise, she's gonna get up, look at it, be grumpy about it, and then think that someone's taking the Mickey out of her again. So I just don't
Mm.
need that. So I just wash the plate. We just wash it. The sink is always empty, always. I just can't. Even
But do you see any where you are creating a soft life for your wife?
mm,
Do
mm,
you see that is that? I mean, because that's one of the things that you observed and then you took action on,
mm,
and you were continuous with that action. It didn't start and stop and start and stop and start and stop. You know, um, like what will happen a lot of times in narcissistic things, they call it like bombing, like love bombing
no
or
problem.
something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, they do everything first and then they stop. And then you kind of, hmm, and then you remind them again, or you get into whatever you get into, and they think that they're losing you or losing that grip, and then they come back and they do it again. What you did is you recognize something that your partner didn't really enjoy doing, and you
Mm,
went ahead and you said, "Let me help make a change." Well, the change wasn't totally comfortable, but in the end, it became something that you became fastidious about, making sure that the kitchen was clean and cooking and yeah, sometimes partaking and whoever else cooked. But the point was, you were consistent.
mm,
You took that off of her plate and you made her comfortable in that situation. So it goes straight across the board.
mm,
Now, for some people, that might be, oh, that doesn't mean anything. Well, to them, it might not. But to your wife, it meant a lot.
mm.
That's part of giving her a soft landing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
I'm
that
sure.
creates peace, right?
Yes,
For
it creates
you.
space for everyone, especially me. I agree. I agree. It is that piece that we were looking for. Let me welcome Mr. Hassan. How you doing? Hi everyone. How are you doing, Jonathan? Welcome, Mr. Hassan. So great to see you. So we haven't met before, but do meet our LinkedIn friends, and hopefully you get something from joining us today. So thank you so much. I think Curtis, of course. Yeah, Kyan says he's that guy. Yeah, no, I think we all need to be that guy, or maybe even that woman as well. Really, I'm saying, I mean that
Yeah,
sincerely. 'Cause I think there's many ways, Dr. Yvonne, that we like you just said. There's many subtle ways that look unimportant that we can create this soft landing. So
right.
I'm saying, I remember that, and so another example I'll give you. So my wife loves that she collects weird stuff. you know, when we were young, it was witches. There was witches around the house everywhere, hanging everywhere, right? And then she reminded me. She reminded me of this a few days ago. She's like, well, most of the witches are gone. Most of them, not all of them. Now she has skeletons, right? I say this because I think a friend came around the other day. I say a friend, a work colleague of hers came around the other day, and she's like, "You have all these skeletons and mannequins." She's like, "Yeah." And all the these weird dolls. No, it's her thing. It's what keeps her happy. She does Halloween in a big way, right? Yeah, and I think the woman said, "And your husband lets you?" And she's like, "My husband lets me? What do you mean?
Like, what do you mean? What the heck?
What do
What are you
you mean?"
talking about? Let me.
Yeah, it's not about letting, and it doesn't bother me. And I would, it's her choice to have what she wants. Even when my son has piped up and said, "I don't like those things," I'm like, It's not, it's her house, not yours. When you get your own place, you can do whatever you like. But until then, let her indulge herself. I think, but it is. I think it's a genuine. It's a,
But do you see how you created an atmosphere for her to be comfortable enough to let that side of her come out? That is the child side. That's her. She feels safe with you.
mm,
Now that other lady just proved to you that she does not have that kind of landing
at all.
because her words were, and your husband lets you. Wait, what?
Yeah, yeah,
Like, dude, if he's not going to let me, he needs to let himself out the front door. Like,
yeah.
for real. Because
I agree.
I'm gonna do it. And if it's gonna create an argument with us, that means you're trying to control me.
Mm,
So, it's not hurting you, it's not hurting me, it's not in any way endangering our family or our lives. It's something that I enjoy that might be weird to you, but I enjoy it.
mm.
So what do you mean you let me? No, sir, you sure didn't. What you did is you agreed to love me as I am.
Yeah, yeah,
And this is part of who I am. I collect weird shit.
yeah.
So, are you okay with that, sir? Yes, my dear, I am. You
Yeah, yeah.
know?
Yeah, well, no, said with a smile as well. I mean it. I think, but I think this works both ways, and I think like I'm allowed to
Yes.
be me. I'm allowed to live my happy life. I do me every day. So I'm thankful for that. So, but I do appreciate that some people will try and put on you. I think it works both ways. Men can put on women. Women can put on men. Certainly. But I think
Yeah.
I think in the description we talked about finding and living in your own divine energy.
Hmm. And
This,
that is her. That's who she is, and that's who you are. And it takes time, right? Nothing happens overnight. Now there are some people that are twinning, right? And it automatically happens for them. Like the way they met each other, the way they communicated. I mean, it was like they've been searching for that person for lifetime, and their spirits completely recognize each other. There's no words that need to be spoken. From the moment you look at that person, like you just knew, and they just understood you even before you opened your mouth. There are many cases like that. They still have to learn to live together.
mm,
They still have to learn that give and take, that tug, that push, that pull, that is, you know, that it flows. It's the energy that ebb and the flow, that kind of thing. It's the perfection that you want in any relationship that you're in, whether it be at work or whether it be with your children or whether it be with your lover. You want that nice, easy flow,
mm.
and you want to feel it cradle you, you know this is what creates the space that makes you comfortable and happy.
Yeah, yeah.
you, you're not going to leave that you
No,
know
I suppose the alternative, which is all too common, is that someone is burdened. I think again in the description where I think something I wrote was, you don't want to feel like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. You know,
or that you're a burden for somebody else.
yeah. But I think once you had, I think once you've experienced narcissism, it's very
Yes.
easy to be one of the either of those two things. Like either overdoing it so that you now become the narcissist essentially,
Hmm.
or you let things happen that put on you. There is a
Wow.
happy place that we must find, right? We must find that happy
Yes.
place, that soft landing, as you call it. You know,
Yes. Well,
it's
I'm surprised that we didn't get our usual people on stage today.
it's
Do
it's
you
fine.
think it?
We can talk to ourselves.
Yeah. Yes, we can talk to ourselves.
Okay.
I think that we need to advertise the studio stream, honestly.
Yeah, you know, look, it's not always that people will come up. You know,
Yes, so
this is
true.
a joy of not doing shows by myself half the time. Because I
Yes,
mean, when I go to Curtis's event, for example, he talks sense for a long time.
yes.
But he comes ready to talk. I think we all do.
Mm.
When you think if my co-host doesn't turn up, what do I do? We'll talk. If I left you
We'll
to it,
talk.
you could talk for a whole hour if you had to. Or
I probably could. Yeah,
I
I
think
probably could.
every event host has to have that capacity. Because one day you need to talk. One day, you know, no one's gonna come up, and then what are you gonna do? Sit there quietly? No, you can't. I've seen people do it. No, sit there quietly. By the way, no one's coming up, so oh well. Until someone does. No, no, don't do that. Just you're the font of knowledge on your topic. So I'm prepared to talk quite happily. And whilst there's two of us, it's even easier. You
It
know,
is. It
I could
is.
just hit you with questions instead. If I didn't want to, if I had nothing to say, I just get asked more questions than anything else, right? But
Well,
look, our hour is up. So
yes, it is.
so we do say, and I think we've covered the main points of soft landing.
Yes, yes. And I appreciate the time and I appreciate everyone that did tune in. And I appreciate those people that are going to play this back and see this on a replay. But I want you guys to understand if you can hear what we're saying is, and what I'm saying, and I'm going to speak a little bit for you, Annie, is that once you realize what you're worth, you're going to want that security. And it's okay to want that as long as you're giving it as well. And that's really my last word on that.
No, I think that's a good way of putting it, right?
Yeah,
Reciprocity.
reciprocity.
We can't just keep taking. We have to give as well. And
Yes.
it matters. For every action, there's a reaction. Put it how you like, my friends. We can't expect and not give in return.
So many people want to do that though.
Mm, mm,
And that's where the growth comes in when you can figure out, use your discernment. And the ones that want to use you for whatever, whatever it is that they think they're going to gain by just tagging along and using you until they think, okay, well, I have enough from that person. Now let me go over here to this person.
mm,
Those are the vampires. So as long as you use your discernment in, those practical spaces in your life, then you'll be fine because there's always going to be someone or people or even a partner, spouse, whomever that's going to try that with you. Now, there are a lot of um, narcissistic parents out there, and they're not going to change. It's really hard to change someone who's been that way for, 50, 60, 70 years. Then the decision for you is, do you want to love them from afar, or do you want to continue to be subjugated to their brand of how they treat you?
mm,
Then you're no matter how much you think you're escaping and going home, you're not living a soft life because that stress is still
mm,
there.
mm.
So yeah, it is reciprocal. So if you're not getting it on that end, reconsider. I don't care who it is. I don't care who it is. If they are bringing you strife and confusion, and all those things, pain, how much do you love yourself? Who are you going to choose? Yourself or that person because they've been given the name mother, husband, sister, father, whatever it is? Who are you going to choose in the end?
Yeah,
So you should be choosing yourself.
you must choose you. You must. You must. So, so we started off with how golden feeling truly happy and at peace is.
Mhm.
And it is priceless. You
It
know,
is.
so anything else but is misery, and that's not worth it. Is the other way of looking at it. Really, it's just not worth it.
No.
And now, hopefully, now I suppose some people need support
Mm.
to make this to make this journey and find themselves, Dr. Yvonne. Do you help them with that?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes, can definitely help with that. And it's funny because the newest client that I have, I always tell people that, but what I realize is that I get sent to places
Mm.
for
Mm.
no apparent reason. And then when I get there, wherever there is, it becomes apparent why I'm there.
Mm.
And that's kind of how I met this young lady, and where she was mentally, even physically. At the time, she said she had been really wondering why she had to go through all this stuff and how she needed, some kind of mentor or something like that, and um, the worthlessness, all these things. And literally, I came in to get a bouquet of flowers for my daughter's birthday. And I had been in that store like a lot, never saw her. And then that day I happened to see her, and I just, I stood there, and this happens a lot to me. And she just started pouring out her life to me as I'm trying to order these flowers for my daughter's birthday. And, you know, I went back later that day to pick up the arrangement, and I brought her a few things from my store, some things that, that I make. And after that, she said, I prayed for you
Mm.
and you appeared. And, it gave me the sense of I'm here to help other people. And so the only thing that I was doing probably wrong before was not using the sixth sense of discernment. It's
Mm.
not everyone you can help, but when they truly, in their heart, desire for these changes to be made and are really looking for a way out, you
Mm.
get sent to them.
Yeah.
So,
I said that I agree with. God works in mysterious ways. If you're not religious, at least the spirits working it in a
yeah, the
strange way.
universe, yeah.
Everything. I call it what you like, right? There's
Mm,
greater forces that put us in the right place at the right time. But I think this comes back to our soft landing conversation, Dr. Yvonne. Being
yeah.
prepared to give, being prepared to be a nice person, but that comes from being at peace with yourself. You know,
Yes,
comes
you're
from
right.
being genuinely happy in your soul. Otherwise, you can't give to anyone. You
No,
know.
you, and you have to first choose yourself. That's the hardest part when you're used to being a pleaser,
Mm.
empath, and a giver, and in many cases, victim slash survivor.
Yeah, yeah. It's all of
Choosing
that.
yourself.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
this
thank
was
you so
lovely.
much. Yeah, you and I could carry on all day, right? Until I would do the show.
Actually,
You know.
we can talk all day. That's the thing. Yes.
Mm.
But
No,
yes, Annie,
I say no. Thank you, Dr. Yvonne. Thank you for being the
thank
amazing
you,
person you are, for
Annie.
bringing our messages. So my friends in the audience, unfortunately, we couldn't hear from Alavine. We didn't hear enough from Mr. Khan, but I think we're back again in 2 weeks' time.
Yes.
You know.
Hopefully you guys can spread the word and join us next time
Yeah,
and not have
yeah.
issues with the getting on. Because
I,
I love getting up here and talking about this stuff because we need to talk about it.
we no, we really do. We really do.
Yes.
The happiness is there. This is me sharing my link for tickets, but I'm going to show
Oh,
our promo video. So we're probably going to end on the promo video. So my
okay.
friends, if you haven't bought a ticket yet, if you bought a ticket, thank you so much. Right? Oh, I like this. No, so I think we might have missed this.
What?
So, I know this is Curtis' first comment. Both men and women must not have to be responsible for the decisions that they've made in terms of the person that we choose, essentially, right? You know, it's true, and I think that's a good point to leave it on, my friend. You know, it's being responsible and being accountable to ourselves and maybe to our God as well. Really, you know, we can't keep lying to ourselves. You know, we have to be that guy, as Karen put it. We have to be the person who does the right things, who loves themselves and loves the world. We must. Look, if you haven't bought your ticket for my event yet, my friends, please go and buy it. You know, it will flash up on my screen instantly, and I'll probably send you a message thanking you profusely. Dr. Yvonne's going to be there speaking tomorrow, by the way, so do join us, right? Thank you so much,
Peace
everyone.
out, people. Have a great day.
I'm on later. I got my show later. I will talk about public speaking and the fear of public speaking.
I will try to be on that.
Please, please come along. So now the show is, of course, linked to the conference tomorrow. So,
Okay.
public speaking is a skill for entrepreneurs that we must all learn. There's more money in it. Everything's in public speaking, right? But so you take care, everyone. Take care.
Yes.
Let me try.
Thank you.
You know, then there's a QR code at the end of this. If end of this video, if you want to buy a ticket for our show tomorrow. Which one am I showing? This one, I think. Dr. Yvonne, we'll talk later. You take care.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Stop whatever you're doing. Time to go and buy your tickets for Author Speakers Conference on the 26th of February. So we have 6 amazing authors, all award-winning authors, who are going to be on stage to share their stories. They want to inspire you. They want to, of course, you can learn from them, and they also want to entertain you. Yeah. Don't hesitate. You know you want to be there. So find the link to buy the tickets, which only cost £10, somewhere around this video, and buy your ticket today. You don't want to miss out. Come and get strategies and insights to transform your life. That's what Author Speakers Conferences are all about.